Good morning, student friends. This is Dr. Sonar, BA, Assistant Professor, ASC College, Ramannagar, Burli. I am going to deliver a lecture on Unit number 4, Ecology, for BSc 1, Semester 1. Ecology is the science of relations between organism and the environment in the vicinity or nearby places. It is one of the important and developing branches of the science, that is biological sciences. The, the term ecology is related with a Greek word meaning eikos means home and logos means study. That is, study of plants is nothing but plant ecology, or simply called as ecology. The environment means surrounding. The conditions, force, or a substance in the surrounding which affects the growth and development in an individual or plant population or plant community, therefore becomes an environmental factor. So, habitat is one of the important factor related to the plant ecology. Habitat means the surrounding that we found in relation to the plants, especially. The community is nothing but it is the used for natural grouping of several species populations. Then population ecology is nothing but the surrounding of ecology or the factors affecting the relationship of the organisms with their environment can be studied by considering effect of a particular component, that means climatic, edaphic, and water of the environment on an individual or a group of individuals. Ecology therefore deals with the effect of environmental factors on the individuals or on population or on community of plants. Ecology therefore deals with the effect of environment and environmental factors on individual or population on a community of plants. The branch of plant ecology known as population ecology deals with the different aspects of plant population like density, natality, mortality, and the effects of different environmental factors on the growth and development of the plant population. The branch of plant ecology known as community ecology deals with the form, structure, and characters of the plant community. The heliocentric nature, holiconoitic nature of environment is nothing but it deals with the ecosystem there are structural components, and for the proper functioning of the system, they interact with each other. Biosphere or ecosphere is the term used to describe the whole earth as an ecosystem. So, next, the ecosystem, there are two structural components, the organism that is biotic and the physical that is abiotic. The two components interact among themselves through the process of energy flow and cycling of various materials. The present day structure of biosphere, or both the components in ecosphere, is result of various interactions between large number of components during different periods in the geological time scale. The life history of earth begins with a mass of molten mineral surrounded by gaseous mixture containing water vapors, nitrogen, ammonia, methane, carbon monoxide, dioxide, sulfur oxide, etc. With gradual cooling, the Earth's surface rocks were formed, and the condensation of water vapors resulted in the formation of oceans. During this period, the formation of mass of protoplasm took place, which finally evolved in the formation of unicellular organisms. Some of these unicellular organisms evolved as photosynthetic cell, and their activities were responsible for the production of free oxygen molecules in the atmosphere. The nitrogen fixation is also began at that time, and likewise the environment developed on the earth. The geological time scale means the Cenozoic era is started from, this was about 70 million years ago, and during this era the climatic conditions were much different than those that in the earlier era in the time scale. The Cenozoic era shows two periods, tertiary and quaternary. The quaternary period relatively recent, and this is the period global climatic zones with cooling of poles as found today were formed. It is during the period that the present day flora predominated by angiosperms and the present day fauna predominated by the mammals evolved. So, the present day environment is not formed in a single step, but it's a gradual evolved through interactions of various components. Basically, the environment or abiotic components in the biosphere consists of a solid matter on the earth that is called as a lithosphere. Water, oceans, lakes, rivers, glaciers, these are called as hydrospheres or the components of hydrospheres. The mixture of various gases in the surrounding air, atmosphere, or which is called as atmosphere. The radiant or solar energy from the only energy source outside the biosphere, that is sun. The earth is one of the planets in the solar system. So this is all about the history of earth when started from the beginning. As we know, the ecological factors, they affect the individual as well as the plants. The environmental botany deals with the study of interrelationships between and amongst the plant and environment. The environment means the surrounding for literally means the surrounding. For every individual plant, the environment includes all the living and non-living things in the surrounding. It means for every plant, all the plants and animals constitute a part of its environment. In addition, non-living or physical environment. The ecological various ecological or environmental factors can be classified into four major categories, that are: first, climatic or atmospheric factor; second, or B, edaphic or soil factor; C, physiographic factors; and D, biotic factors. So let us start with the first, or A, climatic factor. In this climatic factor, the term atmosphere is used for gaseous envelope present on or surrounding the earth, while the term weather describes the general conditions of the atmosphere at a particular time and place with regards to temperature, moisture, and cloudiness, etc. So let us start with first, climatic factor. The term atmosphere is used for the gaseous envelope that is called as air surrounding the earth, while the term weather describes the general conditions of the atmosphere at a particular time and a place with regard to the temperature, moisture, cloudiness, etc. Climate is the term used to indicate general weather conditions of the region, as determined by the temperature and meteorological changes over a period of years. The environmental factors having origin in the climate or which determine the climate are considered as climatic factors. The important climatic factors are as below. First, precipitation and atmospheric humidity. Second, wind. Third, light. Fourth, atmospheric temperature. And fifth, water. Then second one is in the first, the precipitation and atmospheric humidity. Precipitation in the atmosphere, water is found in the form of vapor. The total quantity of water vapor retained in the atmosphere depends on the atmospheric temperature and wind currents. The amount of water vapors increases in the atmosphere when the temperature increases and the pressure decreases. At certain temperatures and pressure, the atmosphere becomes fully saturated with the water vapors, and this condition is called as saturation point. At this saturation point, uh, or stage, if the atmospheric temperature is lowered down, the water holding capacity of the atmosphere reduces. This causes the condensation of the water vapor in the form of raindrops, dewdrops, frost, sleet, snow, etc. This process is called as precipitation. So the precipitation is the main cause of rain. Second is wind. Wind is the important climatic factor which affects the structure as well as the distribution of the plants. The effect of wind on the plants or plant communities is either a direct effect or an indirect effect. The direct effect is the action of wind on the plant or plant community itself, while the indirect effect is in the form of action of wind on the other hand Climatic factor affecting plants. Wind is the general term for any natural movement of air. In that, first we see the useful effects of the wind. Wind is an important agent to disperse the pollen grains, fruits, seeds, spores, etc. The dispersal of the pollen grains helps the plants in pollination process. The dispersal of the seed and fruits is responsible also for the dispersal of the species to the wider area. Such dispersal is useful for the increase the chances of survival of the seedlings and evolution in the species. Harmful effects of the this and other are the useful effects and harmful effects and destructive effects of the wind. All we know that blowing wind is generally increases the rate of transpiration by removing the air saturated with the water from the leaf surface and by bringing dry air in that region. With dry air, the rate of transpiration increases as the more and more water diffuses through stomata from the intercellular spaces in the leaves. The strong wind with great force of destructive nature under certain conditions is responsible for the soil erosion, complete destruction of the vegetation in the region. The effect of wind is responsible for the development of the barren areas or lands. When wind blows with a great velocity and force, it is responsible for the uprooting of the tall trees. Large tall trees, such wind also responsible for lodging injuries to the crop plants, wheat, rice, jawar, etc. Then, in places where warm summer season, dry and hot winds burns young plant parts, including growing terminal and dormant axillary buds. The buds dry and fall on the ground. This affects the growth in the trees in this region. So, this is all about the wind harmful effects of the wind. Then the third component which affects the environment is light. Light is one of the most important factor essential for proper growth in plants and development of the vegetation. In that, we found two types of plants. First is uh, heliophytes, and second one is sociophytes. In heliophytes, we found the plants which can tolerate and grow in full sunshine or bright sunshine. The sociophytes are called as shade-loving plants, and these plants require sufficient shade and moderate to low uh, light intensity for proper growth and development. In the heliophytes, we also see the root system is many branched roots. The stem woody or short internodes. Leaves are with thick cuticle, well-developed palisade tissue, less amount of spongy tissue in mesophyll, and the cells with less chlorophyll content. In the aerial regions or organs, xylem with thick rays, tissue with smaller intercellular spaces, mechanical tissue more and well developed. Their transpiration and respiration rates are relatively higher, show in general many xerophyte characters. Second one is sociophytes. The sociophytes are having relatively tall stem with elongated internodes and many branches, dark green colored leaves due to high chlorophyll content, leaves thin with one or two layers of palisade only on upper side. The leaf mesophyll loosely arranged and with more spongy parenchyma. Outline of the leaf margin generally entire. Epidermal cells in the aerial regions or organs with with purple colored pigment and anthocyanin. General nature on the basis of temperature tolerance capacity of the plants, the vegetation can be divided into four categories. First of all, mm, first is megatherms, plant which require relatively warm habitat or high temperature throughout the year for proper development are called as megatherms. Example, desert plants and many tropical plants. Second one is mesotherms. The plants these can tolerate low temperature during some period of year such as winter months, and during remaining period require moderate or high temperature are called as mesotherms. Example, tropical and subtropical plants. C. A third, microtherms. These plants growing at high altitudes and under temperate conditions required more much low temperature for their growth and development during the most part of the year. These plants cannot tolerate high temperature even for few months like summer season. For example, most of the plants at high altitude and in temperate regions. Last one is hecistotherms. These plants are restricted to regions having earth surface covered with snow during most of the part of the year, that is arctic region and alpine region, which is present above 16,000 feet in tropical area and 12,000 feet in temperate area. These plants require very low temperature for their growth and development and can tolerate extremely low temperature without any injury. In the temperate regions, these plants show some adaptations to short summer season. For example, plants in the alpine region covered with snowfall. A next factor affecting uh, environment is nothing but water. Water is the most essential factor for every living system as the constituent of protoplasm. The land plant gets essential water from soil. The atmosphere reaches to the earth surface or soil in the form of rains. The cycle of water is called as hydrological cycle, and it takes place with the help of circulation of water in the nature. This type of water cycle is run with the help of evaporation, transpiration in the atmosphere. Both atmospheric humidity and precipitation play a very important role in the water cycle. The cycle in the nature is responsible for rains during appropriate season in the different regions, and so this is important factor. On the basis of requirement of water, plants are divided into three parts or types. First is hydrophytes. Hydrophytes are those plants which are growing in aquatic environment or having large amount of water. Second one is xerophytes. These are having uh, dry. These are growing in a dry region and having with a less amount of water. And last one, that is mesophytes. These are the plants which growing under habitat with a neither less nor more water. So all these plants are divided in some forest regions. The zonation of pattern of forest is as under. First is tropical rainforest. Second is grassland or desert forest. Next is deciduous forest. And next is coniferous forest. Fifth is tundra forest. And last one is ice snow. Thank you.